Before we get started, if you're a regular on this channel, or if you'd like to be a regular on this channel and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. And if you don't like what you see, hit the thumbs up. Hey, let's take a walk down to the field. I want to tell you in this episode why we don't use plastic mulch on the tractor farm. Hey, thanks for joining me down in the tractor shed. This is one of my favorite places to spend time, actually, because it's where the tractors are. This is our mulch layer. Let me show you a few of the pieces on here. This is the drip tape, and as you can see, it's a hose. And on the back side of this, on the underside, there's some emitters. It's actually the top of the drip tape. There's emitters that let water drip through it. Now, this drip tape drops down through this mechanism here that opens a furrow, and the drip tape gets buried down below the surface of the ground about 3 or 4 inches, depending upon how we set it up. And then this part of the machine actually creates a hill. You can see these skis, and it's hard to see it, but they're tapered in and they create a hill. The plastic, this is a 4 mil non-biodegradable plastic that gets sort of tucked in around the side of the hill. And then these stretcher wheels right here, the stretcher wheels push the plastic edge down, and this little scraper plow plows the ground up and pushes it over the edge of the plastic. You've also got this tensioner wheel that holds it. Now, when everything is working right and all the stars are aligned and the moon is in its 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, you get a nice, well-stretched plastic mound on which to lay your plants. The problem comes in that the ground is often too wet, or it was too wet when you tilled it. Now this year, we haven't even had a chance to till dry soil. I had to plant the potatoes in a clumpy, messy, muddy, mucky mess. And the sweet potatoes also went down into clay balls. I'm afraid the sweet potatoes may not make it. Sweet potatoes are the one thing that I really like to put in plastic mulch. It really helps them because the sweet potatoes need the warm soil. They need their roots to be warm. And with this summer, I just can't wait. So we went ahead and planted the sweet potatoes without putting down plastic. One of the problems you get also with the plastic is that moles and mice and voles will climb underneath the plastic. They'll make little homes under there. So let me show you, after we lay the plastic, then we have to plant through the plastic. Now, of course, on the tractor farm, we try to do nothing the manual way. So let me show you the machine we have for that. Is our mechanical transplanter. And it's a fairly simple operating device that works really well. You've got this barrel full of water that you can put a little fertilizer into, and a little liquid fertilizer in with the water, and it can squirt on the plants as you're transplanting them. Your helper sits on this seat here, and what's nice is on this transplanter, he's moving in a forward direction. I'll move that silage tarp there, and you can see this is the planter wheel, and it works almost like a Ferris wheel. It goes around, you drop the plant in, the plant comes around with the wheel, and then it drops down into the ground, depositing the plant through the plastic into the ground. And this actually works very well. As you come past it, the water wheel or the water We'll squirt just a little drop of water in through here, and then you can't hardly see them. Let me get around to the back. There's a set of press wheels that press in on each side of the plastic in order to make sure that the roots of that transplanted plant have made firm contact with the ground. And
after laying the plastic, you've got about
how
a
everything's
3-foot
supposed to
area
work, where weeds can't grow. But between each of the beds that you've put down, there's the potential for weeds to come up. Now, without plastic, we go ahead and use the rototiller or the ripper, the field cultivator, to go through and clear those weeds out. And it's not that difficult of a process, but it does take a little time and a little bit of effort. And we can get the field pretty clean that way. So there's 3 benefits to using plastic mulch. 1, it keeps the weeds directly by the plants away. And 2, it creates a nice moist environment. We put drip tape underneath the plastic, and then you've got a nice moist environment for the plants to thrive. The other benefit to it is that it conserves water, because the drip tape underneath the plastic, you don't need as much water. There's not nearly as much evaporation. But there are some drawbacks. I'm going to give you 5 reasons, 5 drawbacks, 5 reasons why I don't use plastic, or at least why we're not using it this year. My mind could change over time as we come up with different planting techniques or different planting ideas. But the first reason why I don't use mulch is an environmental reason. You have to get rid of it somehow. After you're done with it in the fall of the year, what do you do with all that plastic? You can't put it in a landfill, they won't take them. And you can't burn it because global warming. And you can't just pile it up in the corner. It can't be reused, and it has no repurposing. So you have all that mulch. That's the number 1 reason I don't use plastic mulch. Number 2, it's a lot of work. Not so much putting it down. It goes down pretty easy when it does go down easy. But you have to pick it back up in the fall of the year. And if you can't get it in the fall, you have to pick it up the following spring. Now, in the fall of the year, you're usually pretty worn out from all of the other work that you've been doing. And in the spring of the year, you've got a lot of stuff to do. So plastic mulch is actually very inconvenient to use. The third reason, unless the ground is absolutely perfect when you put it down, it won't stay. We get between 30 mile an hour and 60 mile an hour winds here all the time. And quite frequently, that plastic will just tear up out of the ground. Sometimes it ends up in my neighbor's field. Other times it ends up hung up on my vegetables. And number 5, and this reason alone would be enough. You eliminate the weeds close to the plants, but you leave aisles that are filled with weeds. Now, in some ways, a person might be able to make the argument that it's easier to get the weeds out of those aisles than it is to get the weeds that are close to the plants. But the reality is, very frequently, weeds will continue to come up through the plastic. Things like yellow nutsedge comes right up through the plastic. Ragweed grows right on the plastic, right on the edge of the plastic. And when you pull it out, now whether it's ragweed or lamb's quarter or purslane or any of the other things that you're pulling out of the ground, and grass can be awful because grass will grow right up on the dirt that's holding the plastic down. The bottom line is it really doesn't save you anything. It's an expense, both for the equipment to put it down and for the plastic itself. It's not good for the environment, certainly not something that someone who wants to eat organically would want to be a part of. You know, if you want to lay plastic down and plant into plastic so that you can spray chemicals between the rows, well, that makes perfect sense. But if you're trying to do things in an environmentally friendly way, or in a way that enhances or improves or protects your health, I really don't think the plastic works very well. Well, I'm Chicken Johnny, and that's why I'm not using plastic mulch at the moment. Maybe there will be technological advances that come in the future that'll put me in a position where I can use that equipment again. If not, well, if you're interested in buying a plastic layer or a mechanical transplanter to plant through the plastic, leave a comment in the comment section. Hey, be sure you subscribe if you like this kind of content, and leave me a comment. Let me know if you use plastic and if you think it works well. Give me your defenses. If you agree with me, well, go ahead and put that in the comment too. Or if you'd like me to talk about anything else here on the farm, if there's any questions that you want me to answer, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Well, Amitzer Shem, I'll see you again. I'm Chicken Johnny. Eat your vegetables.